What up, blessed team? How y'all doing today? I hope all is well, but most importantly, you are having a very productive day, all right? It doesn't matter what day you're listening to this episode. I hope you capitalize on every single minute, right? Because what do we always talk about? There's someone in their grave right now that will 100% trade places with you just so they can be alive to pursue their dreams, get a chance to go after their goals and their aspirations. So maximize it, right? Now, last week, I hope you got a chance to spend some quality moments with the people that you ultimately love, the people that actually care about you. Like I always said, those are the people that actually will be at your funeral, and that most likely will not be one of your favorite content creators or myself. No matter how many hours you want to spend online, these people will not be at your funeral. It doesn't mean you shouldn't watch them, but all I'm saying is when the weekends comes around or when you get time for yourself, spend those quality moments with your friends, acquaintances, people that ultimately value who you are as an individual, all right? Today, we got a great topic, but before we dive into any of those, if this is your first time coming across my podcast, right? My goal and my mission with this podcast is to inspire 1 billion people to become a better version of themselves through insightful conversations about fitness, nutrition, as well as personal growth advice, right? Now, when it comes to the fitness stuff, we like to focus more on helping you lose weight, build muscle, as well as establish quality disciplines that will help you maintain those benefits that you get from training, all right? Now, when it comes to nutrition, I like to talk more about how to shop for groceries, as well as how to meal prep and maintain your overall nutrition for the rest of your life. Now, as it relates to personal growth, we like to keep those very practical as well. We like to talk about habits, disciplines that you can incorporate into your life every single day that will help you build the confidence you need to go after your big dreams, your aspirations, and your goals, right? So if any of those interest you, you want to lose weight, you want to build muscle, or maybe you simply want to gain a little bit of confidence, that way you can go pursue those big dreams, then you came to the right podcast, all right? So thank you so much for chiming in and welcome to the Sam Arkoh Pod. So as I was preparing for this episode, right, it took me back to when I started working out, and there's so many memories. So I think this should be a very, very valuable episode, like any other episode that's on the podcast. But it took me back to how many mistakes I made when I started training, like going to the gym, like the first 3 weeks. And I remember just only knowing how to do shoulder presses and constantly shoulder pressing. And every time I would see anyone that walks in the gym that looks like a big guy, I will literally copy everything they do. And the next week when I showed up in the gym, I'm doing exactly what they're doing. It makes me really think about the power of consistency, the power of not giving up, the power of having a specific goal in mind. And for me, in the beginning, it was really just trying to exercise. I love the feeling you get when you sweat and overall just getting pumped in the gym. That feeling, like I really was addicted to that. So thinking about those memories, it really took me back, man. I remember just struggling to do squats and my knees popping, making all kinds of noise, feeling that lower back pain because I'm not squatting properly. I mean, if you actually going through a process of finding a way to learn how to train, getting better, executing better in the gym, I'm pretty sure you experienced something like this, right? But it took me down the road, and I thought I should just let you guys know that, man, 7 years ago, I decided to really embark on this journey, and look at how far we've come. Like, my training is so much sharper now. Like, I'm more dialed in. Like, my nutrition is on point. My training regimen is all dialed in. Do I evolve my training, like exercises over time? Absolutely. But like, my fundamentals are so solid when it comes to my training. From a person that knew nothing, they didn't even know how to do squats. And I wanted to say that because most of us, when we start to exercise, we start to work out, and we're not seeing the results that we would like to have in the beginning, let's say 6 months or 2 years in, we want to quit, right? And this applies to not even just the gym, but life in general, right? If you really want to see results, yes, you have to be deliberate and intentional about your approach, but you need an accumulation of reps, right? This is something that I even heard Chris Paul talk about this week. I thought it was a very great point. So many of us forget the power that you gain from reps, right? Because every time you show up, man, I'm telling you, you are getting better. And every time I showed up in the gym, from the time that I didn't know anything about, lifting weight, the terrible shoulder presses, to all the way to me now like doing perfect forms on RDLs and really dialed in on my machine back rows and being able to train multiple different clients and stuff. Like, that is about 7 years ago. You could do so much within that time frame, but it didn't happen for me the first 6 months. It didn't happen the first 2 years. It took me time to put on a little bit amount of muscle. And over time, I became a student. I understood my body more. I understood exactly how to train in the gym. I knew exactly how to put enough tension on my muscle to maximize my overall muscle growth. I knew the amount of protein that my body needs. Like, these are all things that happen over a sustained period of time. So I just wanted to let people know that if you just started working out, which is one of the reasons why you're probably watching this video, one of the things that I want you to understand is this is a process that takes some time. All right. You're not going to wake up one day and say, I built muscle. Like, I lost a lot of weight. Oh, like, it doesn't happen overnight, right? This is a continuous process. And first of all, you should not want anything that happens overnight that fast. Like, I don't even want that. Like, I want to put the effort. I want the sweat and tears because there is lessons in the process. Like, every day when I went to the gym, every week when I showed up, month over month when I was showing up, I was learning. I was studying certain things. I was looking up research online to understand how to really maximize your overall muscle growth, understanding my nutrition. Like, these are all things that you accumulate over time and become cognizant so you don't give up the first 2 weeks when you are quote unquote not seeing the results. All right. Just become very aware of this. I believe it's going to go a long way. Now, that was a little tangent over here, but I think it was important and tied into the topic today. We're talking about 5 things you must know if you just started working out, or even if you're thinking about working out. I think this is going to be a great topic, a great episode, and I'm going to give you a ton of insights that I believe if you really applied it, it will go a long way, right? These are things that when I started training, I wish I knew, right? And over time, as I understood more about training and working out, exercise, and nutrition, these are all the knowledge that I've acquired. And I want to share that with you for free. I believe it is going to be tremendous if you apply it in your life, right? So the first thing that I want you to know if you just started working out is understand that, yes, going after a weight loss goal is fantastic. Yes, going after a muscle goal is fantastic. Absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with that. But understanding that it is important for you to focus more on training and making training a lifestyle. Why do I say that? Because when something is a lifestyle, you're not worried more about the end results, right? If it's a lifestyle, you looking forward to the daily improvement, which is what you really want to focus on. Because it's not like you got to go to the gym for the next 7 months and then gain all the muscle and then you stop working out and then your muscles still be the same. Like, that's not how it works. It doesn't work that way at all. If you want to be able to maintain the results, you have to keep training. It's like if you're a good reader, your vocabulary is very dense and you stop reading. I mean, I'm sorry, it's just not going to be the same. The same applies to any craft on this planet. If you want to keep being good at what you do, you got to put in the reps, and it matters. So one of the main things I tell people is, instead of setting like a goal to lose weight, which then you get the goal and you slack off, focus more on making this whole entire workout training thing a lifestyle, which means you're going to be more focused on your nutrition, which means you're going to pay attention to exactly what you're doing when you show up in the gym, or whether you're doing calisthenics or whatever form of training you are doing. You become more attentive to the small little details that over time incrementally helps you get better with your overall training. I'm telling you right now, when I had that switch in my head from training to build muscle to a person that really cares about their health, everything changed, right? I started paying attention to my calories. I started paying attention to what food I'm really, really eating on a consistent basis, because I'm looking at the long term. I want to be able to live longer. I think it matters a lot. I mean, most of you, I'm pretty positive you want to live longer. So these are things I think from the get-go, if you establish that my main focus is going to be on training and making training a lifestyle, instead of focusing on getting a goal, which then if I don't get, I get disappointed. But if I do, then most cases, most of you, we know what happens. You tailor off, right? You slack off, you go chill, you relax. I want to make sure you avoid this by having that mindset right from the get-go. All right. Number 2, if you are in the fitness community for losing weight and building muscle, one of the main things that you will come across is carbohydrates is going to kill you. Carbohydrates will stop you from building muscle. And I can only speak from my experience on this specific topic, okay? Carbohydrates will not kill you, all right? Now, am I saying go eat rice every single day? That's not what I'm saying. If you eat rice every single day, I don't think there's a problem with that either. But one of the main things I personally notice over time with carbohydrates is, or at least from what I've learned, is some carbohydrates, when it gets into your bloodstream, immediately converts to sugar, which then is a concern. So I would say the best thing you can do for yourself is try to manage the amount of carbohydrates you take in and then increase the overall protein intake. In the long run, if you're trying to build muscle or lose weight or overall even maintain your health, I think it's better that way. Now, what I don't want you to fall for, or the trap I don't want you to get into, is falling for all these TikTokers and all these YouTubers that talk about, oh, carbs are bad for you and you should never, eat some rice. You'll be fine. If you have to eat some tortillas, you will be perfectly fine. It's not going to hurt you like the way they like to try to make it seem. I believe if you can find a way to eat a little bit of carbohydrates, you'll be okay. I eat rice in most cases. I make sure I get a lot of veggies and I get a lot of protein, right? Do I have diversity in my overall meal prepping? Absolutely. But if I want to eat rice, I don't think it's that bad, right? Now, there are some concerns about bread. I have no problem. I don't eat bread as often, so it's not a big deal. I just try not to put this cap on my life on what I can do, what foods I can eat. I train enough. I'm training 3-4 times a week. I'm consistently showing up to go extremely hard. And even though you might be a beginner, I still think it's okay to eat carbohydrates, even if you are trying to lose weight. Just manage the amount that you're eating, just like any other food group. It's not like you should be eating salad and that's the only thing you should eat all the time. You know what I mean? Anyway, I just think it's something that I wanted to throw out there so you guys become aware of as well, especially as a young person that's getting into working out and training in this age. You are going to come across a lot of these videos that will tell you carbohydrate is the worst thing to ever happen to mankind. And I'm telling you right now, from my experience, it's not. Rice has been fine to me. I look very decent. I'm not the most big muscle person, but one thing I can tell you, I'm in shape. And I am one of the craziest training person you ever know. Anybody that's ever trained with me before will tell you straight up, Sam, my training is different. And that's a fact. And you can only say that when you actually train like that, right? I tell people all the time, if you're not really putting in the work in the gym and you're not pushing yourself and you're not doing the reps that make you strain so much that everybody in the gym looking at you like that's the most ugliest face ever, then I'm telling you, you're not really even training that hard. That is something that consistently happens to me when I show up in the gym. My training regimen is like what Dorian Yates used to talk about. I train extremely hard and then I take a lot of days off. So I go 3 days extremely hard or 4 days extremely hard and I take the rest of the week off for my body to recover. And so when I talk about really training hard and those kind of things, I know exactly what I'm talking about. Anyway, I know I kind of got off course a little bit, but I just want you to know that carbohydrates is not the worst thing ever. And if you want to eat some carbs, it will be fine. You're not going to be dead. You'll be all right. Just manage the amount and the quantity that you are taking in on a day in, day out basis. All right. The third thing that I want you to know, which whenever I get a chance to talk about this specific one, I get excited. That's because as a beginner, right? If I knew what I'm about to tell you, I believe I would have had faster progress. I would have been a lot more healthier. I would have felt a lot better if I knew this. And that is meal prepping, right? You have to find a way to meal prep. There's no way around it. Now, you're a beginner, right? So when you start training, one of the things that happens to most people, which happened to me as well, is you want to see results. You watch a few videos, you get excited. And so you're looking forward to these things. The thing you do not want to do is not dial in on your nutrition. And one of the best ways to do that is meal prepping. Now, listen, if you have the money, can you always go around and buy healthy foods? Absolutely. But the problem with that is, one, now you're wasting a lot of time going around searching for food. Two, you're going to waste extra money. That's a given. If you're buying food outside versus meal prepping, you are going to waste more money. Some people are, oh, that's not true. In most cases, in general, you will spend more money buying food outside than meal prepping. So if you can meal prep, I think it goes a long way, and you dial in on your nutrition. You get your results a lot faster. And I always say, if you are in the gym and training extremely hard, if you are really in the gym doing what is necessary, then why wouldn't you want to make sure you really dial in on your nutrition? You really locked in. You're doing what is necessary, because if those two go in combination, that's when you get the true results. That's when the magic really happens. And especially for a young person that just started training like I was, if you don't get the results in the first about 6 months, in most cases, most of you lose your motivation. And so my whole thing is to let you know that I'm trying to give you a few guidelines that will help make your overall transition into training, or if you just started training, make it a lot easier and a lot smoother. And one of the ways to do it is through meal prep. And I cannot say enough. All it takes is a weekend. Sunday, go buy you some chicken, or if you vegan, whatever you like, go grab you a few things, come to the house, prep for the week. And man, I'm telling you, you are going to be more disciplined than ever as a result of meal prep. And you see, this is one of the benefits that you get from training. This is why I encourage so many people to exercise, because people think going to the gym and exercising is just exercising. That's not what it is. It teaches you about discipline, and those lessons that you learn from getting in shape, it transfers to your own life. I cannot say it enough how the main reason why I'm able to do the things that I do, the main reason why I have the confidence to be on camera, the reason why I can talk about the things that I talk about, the reason why my communication is getting so much better is as a result of fitness, as a result of exercising. Because the more I feel better, the more I look in the mirror and I say, I love the person I see, the more I go outside and people are giving me compliments. Now, listen, am I doing the work and keeping the promises that I'm supposed to myself? Absolutely. But all of those things, as a result of fitness, takes me to a whole different level. It makes me do what I'm doing right now. And a lot of you, I'm telling you, you could use that confidence. So I hope by the end of this episode, you don't just listen, but you actually going to follow through and go to the gym if you haven't. And if you are already going, I hope it helps you maintain going to the gym for a very long time. All right. The fourth thing on the list is train 2 to 3 days a week instead of trying to go to the gym 7 days a week. Now, why is this so important? You see, the obvious thing is that when you start training, right, and we all made this mistake, you want to get results. So you think you should go to the gym 6 days a week, 5 days a week, especially, when you're young, you have a lot of testosterone, you feel invincible, and therefore now you're going to the gym 6 days a week. This is something I can guarantee you. If you decide to go to the gym 6 days a week, that's it. You're not going to make it. It's over for you. It's over. The following week, you're not going to be able to train. And this is something I want you to avoid, right? Because I made the same mistake. And go look up anyone that ever got in shape. We all end up making the same exact mistake. My goal is to help you avoid that mistake. So instead of training 7 days a week, dedicate 2 to 3 days a week that you are consistently showing up. You give your body adequate time to recover from all this intense training, especially for those of you that are doing hard calisthenics and you're doing weight training, strength training. The people that are really pushing yourself really, really hard, especially even as beginners, you have to make sure that you are not killing yourself. You are giving your body adequate amount of time to recover. This is very, very important. If you try to push yourself too hard, you're going to be too sore. And now you're taking 2 weeks off, 3 weeks off, 4 weeks off, which is going to affect your overall consistency in the gym. Remember, we are beginners, and the goal is to establish a discipline, a quality habits. And one of the things I tell people all the time is you can steal it from James Clear. Always start small. Remember, you can always scale up. It's not like you can't change your mind in the future to go to the gym 7 days a week, 5 days a week, 6 days a week. You can always do that. But when you are just starting, acquire the knowledge, get better, dial in on your fundamentals. There's no reason to kill yourself. At least give yourself enough days where you're looking forward to the other days to train. The last thing on the list on here is one of my favorite things that I want you to really remember for the rest of the time that you are going to be training. And that is, there is going to be more days where you don't want to train versus days where you want to train. That is the absolute truth, right? So just like anything in life, the gym is one of those challenging things that you're going to come across where in the beginning you are pumped, you're excited, but once you realize you've been doing this for the past 6 months and you're not seeing results, your brain is going to start talking to you. You're going to start doubting yourself. And especially for those of you that start to get older and pick up more responsibilities, there are going to be more days where you're not going to feel like training. I want you to understand this from the get-go. Do not forget. If you're going to forget anything, do not forget that you are going to feel like not showing up in the gym. You are going to feel like not training. You are going to feel like, you know what? I should show up tomorrow instead. But if you want to be able to maintain your overall disciplines, then you find a way to show up no matter what happened. So I want to take a moment and give you a quick recap of all the things we talked about today. One, you have to make sure you make training a lifestyle because it matters, right? If you make training a lifestyle, it saves you a lot of time. You're not chasing after a specific goal. You're not getting no disappointment because you didn't attain a goal, but you focus more on the daily improvements, right? Number two, carbohydrates is not going to hurt you. It's okay. You can have some carbs, just manage it and you'll be all right. Number three, find a way to meal prep. You can come up with all the excuses you want to, but you can take a Saturday, a Sunday, and you can meal prep. Number four, make sure you train 2 to 3 days a week instead of trying to kill yourself by going 5 days, 6 days, or 7 days a week. And why does that matter? It gives your body adequate time to recover, especially if you are doing strength training or very, very hard, intense training, okay? The last one is you are not going to be motivated all the time. And this is why I want you guys to remember. There's going to be more times where you don't want to do the things you want to do. But if you want to make sure you get the outcomes you want, which in most cases, you guys want to be in shape, you want to be healthy, you want the girls to give you the compliments, you want all these things. So I recommend that you find a way to still show up, even if you don't want to show up. Oh, I didn't talk about it. Thank God I remember this. One of the ways that you can actually stay motivated, I made a video about this, so I'll have it somewhere here where you guys can check it out. But one of the ways you can do it is by taking pre-workout. That's a must, right? Get you a pre-workout. They're very cheap. Find it at your local convenience store. And you can take a pre-workout, or you can go on YouTube and search for motivational workout videos. And I'm telling you right now, within a few minutes, you're going to love it. I have a very, very comprehensive video about this. One of the podcast episodes was about this. And again, I'll have it up here. You guys go check it out on days when you don't feel like training, you don't feel like showing up. I have things that you can do to actually help you stay motivated so you can still go in and train. And I made this specifically for a lot of the beginners. So check it out. All right. Now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about the quote of the week. It's by Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is what he said. You know, we're talking about working out. We're talking about training. We're talking Arnold. Okay? We're talking Arnold. For those of you that don't know who Arnold is, I hope you do. He says the resistance that you fight physically in the gym and the resistance that you fight in life can only build a strong character. I'm going to repeat that for you one more time. The resistance that you fight physically in the gym and the resistance that you fight in life can only build a strong character. I mean, do I need to say anything else? Go to the gym. That's what he was trying to say. Exercise. That's what he was trying to say. Train. Because training is not building you physically, but it's also building you mentally. When you pushing that weight, right? When you're doing the supersets or the drop sets, when you're doing the extra rep, one more set, when you don't feel like training and you showing up to doing it, it's making you stronger. When you don't feel like doing it and you find a way to show up and still do it, it's making you stronger. You are getting mentally tougher, right? Like, let me tell you something about people that get in shape and train. If you ever meet individuals like that, right, they are borderline like crazy in terms of confidence. They are delusional. Right? And you want to get to that level. I'm not saying be delusional, but if you're going to go achieve great things, you have to be a little bit delusional. You got to believe it is possible. Like right now, as I'm doing this podcast, I got big dreams and big aspirations for the podcast. Am I where I need to be? No. So I got to be delusional. I have to be able to see things that's not even there. I have to be able to imagine these things. And I'm going to tell you right now, when you get in shape, you get that level of confidence. You know, you're not going to be so shy sitting in front of a camera doing a YouTube video like this or doing an episode of a podcast or doing any form of video at all. All this comes from working. I'm telling you right now, the one thing that's going to change immediately when you get in shape, when you take your training serious, when you consistently show up, when you find a way to do it when you don't even want to do it, your confidence is going to go through the roof. I'm telling you right now, if you are not training right now, at the end of this video, no excuses. Start training. And I'm telling you, if you struggle with video, you struggle with girls, you struggle with social interactions, I'm telling you, if you get in shape, all of this stuff begins to come easier. Now, I'm not saying you don't have to work on it. You still got to work on it. It just, now you have a little more confidence, like you have a little more belief in yourself because now you love who you are. You love the person. And when I look in the mirror, I'm like, okay, I can deal with this guy. I'm okay with this man, right? And so that's what Arnold was talking about. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I want to say I really appreciate it. We are on episode 12, and you guys have stuck with me. A random guy from Ghana, born and raised, don't even know what he's talking about most of the time. It sounds like he's rambling, and you've been stuck with me. I really appreciate it. I want to say thank you so much for chiming in again. Share the episode with someone that would need it. You know someone, a friend, family member that could use it, right? They just started working out. These are things they must know. It will help them out. If you're on YouTube, make sure you like it. Whatever podcast platform you're listening on, leave a comment. If anything resonated with you, or just overall you love my content, Sam, I love what you do, let me know in the comment below. You can DM me on Instagram as well. If you don't know, I have an Instagram page as well. So you guys, make sure you follow me on there. I'm on Facebook, Sam Arkoh Podcast, the same exact name. I want you to stay blessed, but most importantly, stay out of trouble. And I'm going to catch y'all next week's episode.